The time has come for the Dunsparce PvP IV deep dive, basically going Dunsparce's most important stat checks and the IVs related to him in Pokemon Go. If you're not familiar, Dunsparce recently got buffed with the Season of Light Season 12 update in Go Battle League in Pokemon Go. They gave it Rollout. Rollout has fantastic energy gains, and Dunsparce has fantastic bulk and access to both Drill Run and Rock Slide. So now Dunsparce is a pretty solid threat when it comes to Great League PvP. So being a Dunsparce enthusiast myself, I had to take a peek under the hood and see what the most optimal Dunsparce PvP IVs could be. And it is also a level 40 Pokemon, so it's pretty expensive. What's interesting about this deep dive too is it may change how you see PvP IVs forever, because Dunsparce has a really interesting quirk going on when it comes to its most optimal PvP IVs, and it doesn't have anything to do with a goofy high attack stat here. Now, if you're not too familiar with the true stats of Pokemon and breakpoints and how that all relates to PvP and IVs, I highly recommend checking out my PvP IVs simplified video, link up above and in the description. Basically, get your feet wet before you go off into the deep end here. Also, if you want to reference any of this information in a text-based format, link down in the description to my article on GamePress, the Dunsparce PvP IV Deep Dive. To add, the article also has links to the PvP IV tables that feature the better IVs that I'll be talking about in this video to help simplify things. So all of that, linked in the description. And without further ado, let's talk about Dunsparce. So when it comes to the important stat checks for Dunsparce here, I noticed that a 110.63 defense stat was pretty important for a lot of Sableye matchups. In particular, this is a attack-weighted Sableye, the default on PvPoke, using a 121 attack stat. So you may need a bit higher defense to account for even higher attack-weighted Sableye, but most players try to have a really high bulk Sableye, so if you're up in more high-end competition, you could expect the Sableyes to have lower attack stats more often than not. Then there's also a defense check at 111.14 for attack-weighted Alola Marowak. You already beat Alola Marowak pretty well, but this makes it a lot more consistent for managing it in the 0-1 and 1-2 shield scenarios. So basically, you can now whoop that thing's butt and save a shield while you do it. If you want to go even further beyond on the defense stat too, 112.27 defense turns the Bug Bite from an Araquanid from 2 damage to just 1 damage if they're a high stat product, low attack weight Araquanid there. And you already dominate that matchup. You're using a rock type fast move, you got rock type charge moves, nothing it's throwing at you is super effective, so why is this a big deal? Well, you're taking half damage from all those bug bites now. So you were dominating it before, and now you're dominating it in a way that Araquanid could never have imagined prior to this defense breakpoint. Now, how likely is this going to work? I mean, this is based off the rank 1 Araquanid, and the rank 1 Araquanid's attack weight is the same, if not higher than, the attack weight of 17 of the top 20 stat product Araquanids. So if you're at that higher level of competition, people are bringing their big bulk Araquanids in, then I think it is pretty consistent for that. When it comes to the HP side of the force, I think 185 is a perfectly A-OK baseline for Dunsparce. It enables the Sableye 0-0 shield scenario, as so long as you got that defense breakpoint on top of it. And then you can also overcome Frostlass in the 2-2 shield scenario, and you can beat Tapu Fini in the 2-1 shield disadvantage scenario, which is quite nice. Now, if you do go even further beyond on the HP, 186 makes the Swampert matchup a lot more consistent, and then of course having higher HP in less even scenarios means that you do have potential to possibly reach an extra charge move, and because you're not doing a whole lot of fast move damage with the Dunsparce, using extra charge moves is a pretty big deal for it. So definitely a lot of favoritism going towards the bulk, especially going towards the HP there. Now when it comes to the attack breakpoints, well, there are no attack breakpoints, which means Dunsparce only cares about bulk. Now you might be sitting back thinking, Ryan, swag, well that means that Dunsparce wants to be high stat product. The rank 1 Dunsparce has got to be the best Dunsparce because it has the most bulk. And that's where you're wrong. Stat product doesn't care about bulk. Stat product cares about stat product, right? Stat product is the multiplication of all 3 of the stats: attack, defense, and HP. If you only care about bulk, why are we multiplying attack in this, right? What we would care about, what Dunsparce cares about, is bulk product, which is just the defense times the HP, the actual high bulk Pokemon there. And no website no app, no calculator, no nothing sorts Pokemon by their PvP IVs by bulk product. They all use stat product. And it makes sense for, I guess, a good amount of Pokemon to use the stat product because they kind of care about their fast move damage a bit sometimes, right? Doing that one extra damage can mean a lot. But for such a slow fast move like Rollout, especially when you consider that there's a pretty big absence of fast move breakpoints to begin with on the Rollout there, well then what's the point of having the attack stat? We're not getting CMP on anything significant either with Dunsparce, so why would Dunsparce possibly want an attack stat, right? So what's important to use is bulk product. So to help clarify things for you guys at home, I sorted a list of the better PvP IVs for Dunsparce by bulk product. And then I also kept stat product and the stat product ranking there so you can kind of visualize what's all going on here. This is using 110.63 as the baseline defense, the Sableye defense if you will, and then using 106 HP. You can color outside the lines a little bit, like if you have lower defense, you could make up for that with some higher HP going on there, and if you got some lower HP, you could possibly make that up for with the higher defense. I think 185 HP is perfectly acceptable, and if you want to know just how good your Dunsparce is with those, divergent stats going on, just multiply them together and then compare it to the bulk product here, and you can see where it kind of ranks out. Now don't get too hung up on the color coding here. I just color coded them to separate gaps in bulk product, so when the numbers, change, like there's a gap between what's happening and what's next, right? I decided to just kind of highlight that for tie-breaking purposes and eyeballing things a little bit better there. But I'd say don't get too hung up on it. All the featured PvP IVs here are fantastic, and you should be blessed to have any of them. Basically, all of them are going to perform more or less precisely the same here for Dunsparce, where the rank 2 and rank 7 might be, a smidge noticeably better than some of the stuff on the lower end. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter that much, so don't get too hung up on it there. But yeah, you can see here that the rank 1, even though it is the rank 1 stat product, it's not the bulk product, it's not the tankiest Dunsparce out there. There's in fact 4 other Dunsparce PvP IVs that are tankier than the rank 1. So I care about bulk. Attack weights don't matter, Ryan Swag. I only care about bulk. High stat product. Well, you might want to check yourself because stat product doesn't mean bulk. It suggests bulk because of how PvP IVs work out, but it doesn't precisely mean bulk 100% of the time. And what you will find with most species is the further away you deviate from the rank 1, basically once you pass I think the rank 50, stat product means very little when it comes to bulk, which is why I have this whole PvP IV deep dive series highlighting the important stat checks, the minimum bulk checks that you want to care about and stuff like that for a Pokemon species, because you might think the rank 100 is going to be better than the rank 120, but if the rank 100 doesn't have the important defense and HP checks, and the rank 120 does, well then which one's actually better, And that can be pretty complicated to figure out on your own, so I got this series here to try to help guide people to the right. But yeah, Dunsparce here, a little divergent, doesn't care about attack, so bulk product table happening here. And then to add, there are more IVs than just this. I just didn't want to make this table microscopic for you. So the article on GamePress has this exact table there for you to ogle yourself and compare all your stuff to. And then once again, just kind of highlighting here, if you do have something with a lower defense stat or a lower HP stat, just multiply those true stats together, which you can figure out using pvpoke.com, pvpivs.com. You can use the Go Stadium rank checker, PokeGenie, CalciIV. They'll all tell you what your true stats are. So just multiply that defense and that HP together and then see how it compares to the bulk product listed here. And that'll give you an idea of the ranking with your divergent stats going on. Now let's say you already built the rank 1 Dunsparce and you just happen to have the rank 7 just sitting in your inventory looking at you, laughing at you, all that Stardust wasted. Did you really waste your Stardust? Well, while Dunsparce doesn't really care about its attack stat, there are some charge move breakpoints that function pretty nicely as consolation prizes, give a little bit of credence to the attack weight, but I don't think that they're so important that they're anything you should really worry about. They're pure consolation prizes. But if your Dunsparce happens to have at least a 103.5 attack stat, you can get a drill run breakpoint on Umbreon, better securing the 2-1 shield advantage scenario. So pretty dire situation. If the Umbreon happens to have worse IVs than the rank 1 Umbreon, you're probably going to get the drill run breakpoint or the matchup anyways. But hey, if you got it, you got it. It's nothing I'm recommending you chase after, but if you happen to have it, well, at least you can know that you're probably doing 1 extra damage to that Umbreon. And then there's another one at about 104.3 attack against the rank 1 Skarmory, giving you a Rock Slide breakpoint on it. Also, once again, helping secure the 2-1 shield scenario. Of course, factoring in even energy and even damage coming into the fight. So once again, not a priority at all, but if you happen to build a Dunsparce and it happens to have this attack stat and you're like, oh gee whiz, Ryan Swag, I wasted my Stardust, I don't have any of the cool bulk things you were talking about, well, at least you do have this slight advantage going on against the Skarmory and the Umbreon. And other matchups too, honestly, because charge move breakpoints do exist across all matchups. It's just for Dunsparce, I didn't really see them being that significant outside of these two situations. So that's all I gotta say about Dunsparce right now for the Great League PvP. If you got any questions on this content, of course, comment below, let me know what's up, and I'll be happy to help you out. And if you enjoyed this kind of content, you want to see more like it, maybe you want to see the Galarian Stumpfisk PvP IV deep dive, well, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. SwagTips. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these Patreon supporters. If you want to support Swagman on Patreon, link in the description. All these years of people telling me, Ryan Swag, your attack breakpoints don't matter. The only thing that matters is the rank 1 stat product. It's the high bulk Pokemon. I want to survive matchups with the 1 HP and win. Little did they know that stat product isn't bulk product. A lot of the rank 1s they're playing with might not even be the tankiest iteration of the species. Poor fools.